Ever since I was young, I have been working to help others see the best in themselves. My friends' parents always said I was encouraging and kind, a great friend. I believe that being the best friend I can be for someone is the end goal of all my social relationships. To me, this is a defining part of my character, and one that I hadn't identified before. Once I did, however, my vision statement crafted itself. It reads, "To promote the well-being of those around me by encouraging mindfulness and self-reflection in order to increase confidence and esteem." For my action research project, I wanted to work with one of my communities on campus. I chose to work with members of my fraternity, Pi Kappa Phi, because I think it is common for fraternity chapters to be full of large personalities who will get lost in the community and forget to prioritize mindfulness in their actions. With this in mind, I decided to conduct a discussion on mindfulness and reflection over my participants' actions within our fraternal life and overall state of the brotherhood between us. After reading The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, I realized what I was really trying to do was start a social epidemic within our community, where I was looking to create a culture more adept at self-understanding and aware of our effects on others. By having a workshop with specific individuals in the fraternity, I could create this epidemic. I invited 5 important individuals in our community to participate in this workshop. I had 2 socialites, or connectors, as Gladwell characterizes them. These people are very well connected, the type of people who know everyone, and when they say something, the message travels across many subgroups due to their interconnectedness. I also had 2 mavens. These people may not know the same amount of people a connector does, but when they say something, people listen. They are well informed and provide insight into specific areas. Finally, I had myself and one other participant, who Gladwell would characterize to be salesmen. Salesmen are experts at influencing people to take action. Together, the connector, maven, and salesman are a powerful group of people who can impart mass social change and are the key people Gladwell identifies that are necessary to initiate a social epidemic. The workshop began with a 5-minute period of silent self-reflection where the participants were charged with letting their mind wander through their Greek experience, thinking through their strengths and weaknesses, and reflecting on what they have experienced in terms of positive and negative emotional and mental impacts their brothers have had on them. Come upstairs, got some work to do. After this, we came up with ground rules to govern our discussion in order to make it a safe and encouraging environment. Once these were set, I posed a few questions to the men involved, and we had a great discussion where we learned a lot we didn't know about each other and had the opportunity to hear everyone's differing opinions and views about what makes up our brotherhood. We also discussed ways to incorporate this kind of thinking in the leadership of the chapter and the current and future culture of the group. In terms of feedback loops, I considered the single loop when looking back at the specific parts of my discussion and how it was framed. This was done through my post-survey I gave out to my participants and my own reflection on how the discussion went. It was particularly interesting to look back on how I originally framed the project and how it changed. Most of the feedback was very positive, with a few pieces of constructive criticism, such as, "It would have been nice to do this with the whole fraternity." I differ in opinion from this participant because I think having a much larger group would have diminished the personal and safe culture of the discussion. I considered the double loop when asking if this was the right way to tackle the issue I was addressing. Is this discussion a good way to get my vision to be realized? I considered the third loop when looking back and analyzing how I decided what the right thing was, and who I decided to include in the project, thereby also who I excluded from it. This was particularly interesting because there were people I did not include who could have had a positive impact on the discussion, but in order to keep the group a small size, I did not include them. One major issue I found in this approach was because I had very specific people in mind, I had to ensure that I conducted the discussion at a time which worked for everyone, and this ended up being more difficult than I thought. Thanks for being interested in my action research project. I hope you can see how much fun we had with it and we've already started to see the effects throughout the fraternity.